If you've been watching some of my budgeting videos that I've been putting out, that when I'm talking about it's Q4, it's budgeting season, I have been name dropping the name of the software that we use internally for our budgeting. And the name of that software is Jirav. And although it sounds like the animal, and you might even see my new little friend up here in the corner of my little bookshelf. It's not spelled like the animal giraffe. It's spelled J-I-R-A-V. You can call it Jirav, you can call it giraffe. I don't really care what you call it, but I have been talking about it here and there, and it is what we use internally. So what I wanted to do is actually show it to you guys today. So I was actually kind of walking through a demo for myself when I was practicing for this video, and I realized how passionate I am actually about this tool. So I am very excited. It's, again, the nerdy things that I get excited about. I'm excited to show you guys the platform today. So the point of this video is not to show you how to use it. The point of it is to show you kind of the what it can do and what kind of the functionality of it is, the types of things that you can put into the system and the types of things that come out. So if this video does well and people are interested in it, and so like it, if this is interesting to you, so it'll give me an indicator of like, is this something I should do more videos on? I will show you guys how to use it. But I need to have an indicator of, is this going to be helpful to you guys or not? I love this. I also wanted to make this video so that potential clients or people who are considering working with Clara CFO Group can understand what they're going to be getting as a deliverable, because we have a Jirav account for every single client, and we customize dashboards and we do reporting, and it's kind of our software that we use for our final deliverable to clients. So I'd like them to see what they're getting as well. So this is kind of a dual purpose video in that sense. Yeah, let's get into it. And if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, I would love to invite you to subscribe at this point in time. And then if you do like this video, if you find it to be helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into Jirav. I'm gonna show you guys the platform, walk you around. It might be a little bit rambly here and there, but I want to overall give you the kind of the broad landscape of what it is. And please, please, please put your comments and your questions below, because I wanna know, you know, what's interesting, what would you like to learn more about, and I'm happy to do some follow-up videos if this is intriguing to any of you guys. Oh, and I also want to say that this video is not sponsored by Jirav. However, I am an affiliate of Jirav. I do use their software every day. I pay for it. I use their software every day in our practice, and we pay for it. We pay them a good amount of money to be able to do that. But if you are interested in learning more about Jirav, we do have a special link. So we'll put it here, Clara CFO/Jirav, so you can learn more. And so if you're an accountant or you're just a direct user, they'll point you in the right direction of which one you are. And we do have some special offers specifically for anybody who comes into wanting to use Jirav specifically from this channel. Definitely check that out if this is intriguing, and we'll make sure to link it in the description box below as well. Here we are in the kind of the opening screen of Jirav. So when we first open it up, it's going to default to your dashboards. And so I'll talk first about dashboards. Although Jirav is really what I would call a financial planning and analysis tool, or a financial planning tool, we do have the ability to also have dashboards. And this is really helpful just to be able to see really visually some key information we want our clients to see. So we want them to be able to see, for example, you know, maybe just their profitability in a quick snapshot, what their cash is doing. What's their cash compared to last month? You know, when are they going to run out of cash? That's zero cash date. You know, some really high level metrics that you want to be able to see. And that the nice part about these dashboards is that we can direct them to kind of different types of customers or different types of people who are actually paying attention or need to pay attention to these dashboards. So for example, you could have a dashboard specifically for maybe your management team. What does the management team care about? Or maybe you could have a dashboard for your marketing team. Or maybe it could be for your board. Your board might want to see very specific metrics that are maybe a little bit more high level, but your operating team, your management team might need to see some numbers that are more month to month, where your board might want to see year over year or quarter over quarter. The beauty of this is that these are all very customizable. You can move them around, you can edit things, you can change the dates, and you can build a custom dashboard, and you can have multiple dashboards. Now, how many dashboards depends on the type of plan you're on, but I really like the customization of this, that we can build this for what our clients specifically like to see. So that is one part of the system. And I will not show you guys how to use the dashboards. Again, if you want a video on how to use and create dashboards, you let me know. I'm happy to do that so I'm gonna be trying to like pull back a little bit because I really wanna get into the detail. And then I'm like, no, that's not what this video is about. If we want to do a follow-up video, I will absolutely do that. What I do want to show you is how information, so that's kind of really high level. I want to show you how information gets into the system, because I think this is kind of important for understanding how Jirav works. So it pulls in actual and financial data from different systems. So you're going to have a GL system of some sort. So that's going to be your accounting data. Accounting is going to come in from QuickBooks Online, maybe from Xero, NetSuite, Sage Intacct, and QuickBooks Desktop. These are all ones that they have direct connections set up. And you are also able to manually import accounting information. It's definitely not ideal. Anytime you have to do a manual import, it's just not ideal. So hopefully one of your accounting systems, they've got all the big ones here, and that's specifically for small to medium-sized businesses. You should be able to connect your accounting system into Jirav. Now, we at Clara CFO, we almost exclusively work with clients that are in QuickBooks Online. So the integration has been fantastic. We also have a couple clients on Xero, and it's also very good. Haven't had any issues with that. And then it syncs regularly. So you can see up here when the last import was. You can always see that, which is nice. Now, it will sync regularly, but you can also force a sync at any point in time. So if I just made an update, let's say, and added a new transaction, or maybe I moved a transaction to a different account and I wanted to reflect that in my report, I can force it and just click import and it will be able to refresh. So GL data comes in, also workforce data. So this is your payroll information. We really like to have the payroll information synced into the system as well. And so you can see all the different payroll providers that this supports: ADP, Gusto, Paychex, all the big guys. We actually use JustWorks here at Clara CFO. And so we're able to sync our data directly into Jirav with JustWorks. But we have lots of clients who are on Gusto as well, and a couple on ADP, and all of that information can get pulled right into the system. We're also able to pull in custom data. And so we can do that through a Google Sheet. I'll show you really quickly what that looks like. So this is a demo product that already has some information populated here, but this is where you can bring in other information that's outside of your accounting data and outside of your payroll data. So for example, they have some marketing here, website traffic, leads, opportunities. They also have some subscription revenue numbers. So maybe this is tracked in a different system somewhere. And then they also have just some numbers that they might want to type in manually, like the number of units, and then doing some calculations on that as well. So the nice thing about this being in Google Sheets is that you can do actual calculations on it too. So if you want to say this number times this number equals this, or you want to say this divided by this is a percentage, you can actually put formulas in here, and the output of those formulas will get pulled in as the final number into your tables in Jirav. This works really well, especially if you have maybe some information that your clients want in a dashboard, but you maybe don't have access to it yourself as the CFO or as the accountant. They can give you that information, get it populated in here. And I'm sure there's probably lots of opportunities to automate getting numbers in here using like Zapier or other ways to bring and import information in. So that's how information comes into the system. And all of this is one way, coming from the GL or from the payroll system into Jirav. Jirav does not push any information back out to those systems. Okay, so that's really, really important. It's only reading your information. It's not actually going to change anything in your accounting system or in your payroll system. Okay. And so the big thing about Jirav, and the thing I'm most excited about, is the planning part of it. So we are able to have a couple different plans. So you can have, for example, this is like a yearly plan. So you can have a budget for the year, you can have a rolling forecast, you can have different scenarios if you'd like to put that in here. You can have a certain number of active plans depending on the plan depending on the subscription level that you're at with Jirav. And then this is where you're actually doing all of your financial planning and your projections on what's going to happen in the future. So with this, you can estimate, you can go section by section on the P&L. You can forecast and project your revenue. You can forecast and project your COGS, your operating expenses. Anytime you see OpEx, that just means operating expenses. And then there's some other things. So if you have other income, other expenses. You can also forecast your balance sheet. So one of the beautiful things about Jirav is that when you put in all of the information of your forecast for your P&L, you can get a projected balance sheet. So you can literally see, what will my balance sheet look like at the end of 2024 if all of these things happen that go to plan? And then, you can change that over time as the year goes on. Recently, we did a video on what's the difference between a budget and a rolling forecast. So definitely go back and watch that if you're interested in kind of understanding how to use this a little bit better. But if you are budgeting at the beginning of the year, you can see, okay, does my balance sheet look like what I really want it to look like at the end of the year? And then you can also plan for things like potentially like owner's draws or tax payments. You can, you do that in the equity section. So some planning software and budgeting, like for example, if you're just using QuickBooks budgeting, there's no place to put in any balance sheet transactions. It's all P&L budgeting. So in this case, we can actually plan out, okay, if we've got a lot of cash, what are we going to do with it? Do we need, like maybe if we're going to make a big capital investment, or we're going to buy, or we're going to take out a loan, for example. Those types of things will affect the balance sheet, but you wouldn't be planning that on your P&L budget. So here is this is like the bread and butter of good financial forecasting, is not just P&L forecasting, it's also looking at the balance sheet. Okay, what you do when you go through this, and I'm not going to show you how to use it, but I'm just going to kind of show you high level. Let's look at all here. So this one has departments, so that's something to look at. But you can literally go line by line through your subscription revenue. In this case, they've built out a little bit of a calculation here, what they expect to churn and fall off, what's the existing revenue, any added, and then new revenue as well. So they kind of are coming up with these sub items to come up with their total subscription revenue. And then they have product income, and then they have professional services revenue. So they have a couple different things here that are creating their forecast for the year. So you can go line by line, and you can add additional detail under these revenue lines, which I think is really helpful. I just went through this process with a client who has big contracts during the year with maybe over the course of the year they might have 10 customers, but they're large contracts, full year contracts. So we actually made sub items under our service revenue to say the customer name, so we could put in the revenue projection for what we thought was going to come in from that customer and in what month. So we can try to get a really accurate revenue forecast. So there's lots of different ways you can use this. What is a big deal about Jirav too is that with the forecasting, they have something called drivers. So you can create basically a prediction on any of these lines. I think because this is the plan of record, I can't do anything. So let's go to something else. So over here, you can actually edit a driver. And this basically says, what is this number based on? In very simple terms, what is this number based on? And the future projection of this number, how can we get a good indicator of what this number is going to be in the future? So let's say if it's subscription revenue, you might have, okay, well, it's the subscription price times the driver, which is our number of subscribers. And that number of subscribers you can build into Jirav with maybe a custom table, and you can tell it, this is our starting point, this is how much we expect people to fall off, this is how much we expect new customers to sign on, and then we have a subscriber number. And that number times the price equals our revenue number here. So again, this is getting into a little bit of a nitty-gritty, but the driver-based forecasting is one of the big things that I like about Jirav. So I did want to mention that here. And you can do a driver not just on revenue, literally every single line item here you can create a driver for. I think that's really great. I also like that you can go into the staffing module, and here it can actually pull in your staff. Let's see here. Let's go to all. So this is all the staff at their salaries and wages, and you can do things like plan a raise. So you can say, hey, what if we did a 5% raise at a certain time? You can add that, or you can terminate somebody at a certain date and it will change the payroll projection. You can add new hires. So you can add a planned hire, even if you don't know who that person is yet, but you're like, hey, by April of 2024, I want to have a new admin assistant. You can type in here, admin assistant, and kind of a projected salary amount, maybe it's $50,000 a year, and it will put it into your forecast for your salary expense. So I really love this staffing module. I've given some feedback to Jirav about how they can improve it, especially for part-time employees. It works really, really well for full salaried employees, but for part-time employees, we have to do some modifications on it. But I've given them that feedback and they are very receptive to feedback. So I know that they're probably working on it, but let's see. That's what I wanted to show you about staffing. I love the balance sheet forecasting, especially for all of our friends who are pass-through entities where maybe some of your income is coming from an owner's draw and maybe some from W-2 wages. You can actually plan in your owner's draws in here so you can kind of see how that affects your cash overall. Love that. And then you also have the ability to edit any of your custom tables. So these custom tables have been built out really well to help get information into the dashboards and to help build out the drivers for the business. I won't go into all of these because this one's a little bit more complex than what we typically do. So that's the plan. And then after we have the plan, then we can start creating reports. So reports are really fabulous in Jirav because we can customize them really well. So what I like, and this has a really good example here, is, for example, with our clients, we do a monthly financial review. So that reporting package we standardize. And then we can also have a separate package for board reporting. So here is a really good example. The board report will look different than the monthly review. So monthly review here is a little bit longer, goes into more detail, maybe has a few more reports. And in this case, they have a board package as well. And then they also have a budgeting package. So we do that for our clients as well so that they can see, what the budgeting plan is for the year. But I want to kind of just show you quickly some things that we can pull into the reports. So here's a good example. If you want, you can do a cover page, an index page, a text page. We always have a text page with our clients so we can keep notes, and we can also keep track of responsibilities or key things that we noted from the month. Executive summary, income statements can be shown in different ways. You can run a budget versus actual by using this income statement template, and then the balance sheet, cash flow. You can have a workforce in here. I usually don't use that one, but you can also put your goals and all your dashboards that you have as well. So you can customize this package to the different types of reports, but then even in each report, you can customize it a lot. That's a full video for sure, so I can show you guys how to do that. But here's just an example of something you might find in a monthly review, like our full year executive summary. If you want to look at your 3-year pro forma, we've got the dashboards in here showing an income statement. This is forecast. Actuals are in gray and then forecast is in white. You can see the balance sheet. We've got the cash flow. Here's a budget versus actual. And you can do it in lots of different formats as well. So you can kind of see here, we can break it down into departments. We have lots of options when it comes to reporting. But I really like specifically that I can have different reports for different reasons, kind of like dashboards, different dashboards for different reasons. And then this saves so much time. When we come to do our financial review every single month, clients kind of know what to expect and what the deliverable looks like. And now when we're doing more board reporting than we used to do as a firm, once we create a standardized board reporting package, we can just roll that forward to the next board meeting, and it saves tons of time from a prep perspective because we've already kind of figured out what the board wants to see, and then we can just update it for the next quarter or the next half year, however, whatever the frequency for the board meetings are, and it's a huge time saver overall. And then the board really likes it because they have a nice clean report and it's really easy for them to read, and you're also able to present and sometimes just present directly in this view. Sometimes that's what I do, where I actually just walk people through this directly, but you can also print it as a PDF as well and make that a deliverable for your clients. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to Jirav than what I covered, but I wanted to show you the high level dashboards, reports, and plans and how the information gets into the system. There's also things that, you can do a lot. You can create global drivers, assumptions. I like using goals so that we can do little tiles on our dashboard that say where we are in comparison to our goals. I think that's a really powerful visual. And then lots of other things we can do here. But this video is getting a little long for, the first introduction to Jirav. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys the big high-level overview. And then if any of this sounds interesting or particularly you want me to kind of double-click into it, I'm happy to do so and make separate videos on the different parts that you can do in Jirav. Well, thank you so much for being here and for bearing with me on kind of a high-level whirlwind tour of Jirav. Again, if you want to check it out for yourself, you can go to claracfo.com/JIRAV and check out Jirav. All right. Bye, everyone.